So the main ingredient in this recipe is hearts of palm, and you just want to rinse them and pour them out on the cutting board. And I take my fork and shred it before I give them a rough chop. You can do this step in the food processor, but I like to make it look kind of stringy. To me, it gives it a more authentic look, more like crab. So either way works perfectly fine. This is just how I choose to do it. We'll go ahead and speed this up because it's just a bunch of shredding with a fork until I'm ready to rough chop. And like I said, you just want to give it a rough chop just to cut up some of the strings. So chop it up, and then we will add it to our bowl and move to the next step. Here we're just gonna add a small piece of red bell pepper. You can do this to taste. I didn't want a whole lot in there, plus I'm only using 1 can. You would definitely use more than this if you were using 2 cans. So just slice this up and dice it pretty fine so that whenever you make your patties, it's easy to keep it together. I'm going back over and chopping again because I like this to be pretty fine so you don't have big giant chunks of red pepper whenever you're eating your crabless crab patties. The next item that we're going to add is a purple shallot. Super similar to a regular onion. It's a little bit milder and adds a great flavor. Same thing with the red bell pepper. We want to cut this up so that it's fine and you don't get big giant chunks in your crabless crab patties. Now we're gonna go ahead and add both the shallot and diced red bell pepper into an already hot pan and give it a little stir. And then we will be adding in some vegetable broth. I chose to use low sodium vegetable broth because typically hearts of palm in a can are already very salty. So to me, there's no need to add any extra salt. You just want to cook these until they're nice and tender so you don't get a big crunchy bite in the crabless crab patties. And then you just remove them from the heat and add them to the bowl. So a lot of crab patty recipes call for mayonnaise. I wanted to try to keep this as simple and whole foods as possible. So I used 2 tablespoons of regular soy milk and a squeeze of half a lemon to help curdle and thicken the milk up. And I just recycled my hearts of palm can instead of getting another dish dirty. Mix it up really well and then pour it into the bowl. So the next item that we're gonna add is a teaspoon of Old Bay seasoning. You can add more or less to taste. This just gives it kind of that more authentic crab cake flavor that we're all used to. And then we're gonna add in a teaspoon of cornstarch just to kind of help hold things together. And then the same thing with the Panko crumbs. These were a really simple ingredient list for the Panko crumbs. I tried to, like I said, stick to as whole foods as possible. So just add in what you think you need for whenever you go to put your patties together. This is going to sit in the refrigerator for a little bit so that it has a chance for the flavors to meld together and for the crumbs to soak up the liquid that is in the bowl. Next, I'm just shaking in some pepper for a little extra seasoning, like that's also to taste. And as I was looking at the mixture, I decided it needed a little bit more of the Panko crumbs. So altogether, I probably added about 1/4 cup. Like I said, it's kind of like an eyeball thing. So You just don't want it to be runny whenever you go to put your patties together. So the magic ingredient in this recipe is kelp granules, or you could also use a nori sheet crumpled up into the recipe. It just really gives it that seafood flavor pop that you're looking for in a crab cake, because it comes from the sea. It is kelp or seaweed. So it really is sort of a must-have ingredient. So just mix that in well. Get ready to add in our last ingredient, which is some type of mustard like Dijon mustard or stoneground mustard, just to give it a little extra punch and flavor. And then you also want to mix this up well. And we're going to get ready to cover this up with a piece of saran wrap and let it chill in the refrigerator for a couple hours. Okay, since mine had an opportunity to chill for a couple hours, I am going to make the patties. And you just want to get a little bit in your hand, depending on the size that you like. I don't like them too small, I don't like them too big. And then you're gonna use some more Panko breadcrumbs and just get the top and the back and the sides. And I suggest using a piece of parchment paper to lay them on to keep them from sticking to any surface. And just make your patties until they're all formed. Once your patties are breaded, they are ready to cook. I did mine in an air fryer because I'm oil free, so I was just trying to get this crunchy flavor without having to fry them in oil. You could totally do this in the oven or in a little bit of oil, like oil fry them in a pan. But like I said, I'm trying to avoid oil because this is a weight loss recipe. So you want to set your air fryer to 350 and you're going to let them cook for 10 minutes. So when I went and checked them after 10 minutes, I realized they weren't quite as golden brown as I would have liked them. So I put it back in and let it cook for another 10 minutes. And I feel like this came out pretty well and they were delicious. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you try this. If you do, let me know. And please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you want more recipes.